Hello everybody, it's me, TONIK TZW, and I had a really interesting game today where I played with somebody that I know and somebody that I'd never really played with before. It was a new acquaintance, and we decided to division up and go out and play a couple of games together. And I think this was either our second or third game, and it came together in such a way that I thought it would be a very, very good example of how you can work together to get a win. One of the first things that I will nearly always do at the start of a game is I will have a look at the team sheet and see what I am up against. Now, I play a lot of destroyers, so I'm obviously interested in whether or not it's a carrier match, what other destroyers I might be up against in a game, whether or not there are any radar cruisers like Mr. Wichita sat there halfway down the team sheet. And again, one of the biggest bugbears for destroyer players in this game is these battleships with huge range and their secondaries that don't even need to be looking at you to be shooting at you and doing damage, i.e. the Zeton and the Bismarck. The other thing that I'll be looking at is what my position is on the map, and before the match starts, which ships of my team are around me so that I know who I may be able to call upon for support if I need it. Now, we've put a division together of two Azumas and a Loyang. Obviously, the Azuma was buffed a few patches ago, and I've been playing it a little bit as well and getting to grips and starting to enjoy it. It isn't a bad cruiser at all. The Loyang, I love its party trick of its 5.4 kilometer sonar, which is the longest range sonar of any destroyer in the game. It's not a bad little gunboat, and although its torpedoes don't have the longest range, they do have enough range in that you don't actually have to be climbing up the ladders on the side of the ship to deliver your torpedoes to their broadside. Now, even before this match start, we were talking about what we would do, and rather than push straight in there through the center of the cap, because it isn't domination, it is captured the base, I tell them that we will go straight down the left side, we'll use the island for cover, and we will come out at the other end so we can move forward and push forward into the enemy's flank without being detected ourselves. And all the while that we are playing this game, we are talking in party and we are communicating, and we will be calling the shots that we are going to be playing as we go through the game. Now, I know if you're a solo player that you can't really do this, but you can, because if you have a headset, then you can talk to other people. I will always jump in at the start of a match and say hello and ask if anybody is on comms. Now, what I've done here is I have dropped a smoke screen, and both those guys are going to slam in the anchors and they are going to stop right inside that smoke screen, and I am going to turn out and away from that KGV, and I am going to keep him spotted while those torpedoes run and those guys get to work on him. Now, that KGV's put himself in a very bad spot because he can't turn away from those torpedoes because he's got an island beside him. And although they aren't going to kill him because I stacked the spread side by side, he has taken hits, he has taken floods, and because he's already damage controlled, there's nothing he can do about that. So I'm just watching him tick down. But as a solo player, you do have the command wheel available to you, and it is not just for tooting your horn or being sarcastic and saying well done every time that a friendly ship gets killed. It isn't helpful to do things like that, and to be honest, if you do that at the start of a game or any point during the game, you're sailing around tooting your horn, I'm going to stay well away from you, because I take it that it's a sign of somebody doesn't have quite all of their marbles. So we've already taken care of one battleship. The Massachusetts there is now isolated. He's on his own. What's he going to do? He's going to park behind an island. And I'm looking at the minimap as we're pushing forward. And I'm using what I can see on the minimap against what I can see in front of me to communicate to these guys what my plan of action is going to be. And I'm saying, okay, we've got a cruiser there on the approximate 2 o'clock of Red Team's base. We know we've got the Massachusetts in front of us. He's got a plane up, so I'm going to stay away from that plane. I'm going to not get too close to where the Massachusetts might be. And because I don't want to get involved in his secondaries, but there's not really anywhere he can go. Now what you will see on about the 3-4 o'clock position of Blue Team's home base is there are 2 battleships there who decide to lemming train in our direction. I don't know why they've abandoned where they were. They could have possibly done a better job of blocking the push on the left flank, but they are following us, and we'll see what they manage to achieve towards the end of this game. But we get the Wichita spotted there. We know what his radar range is, so we're going to stay far enough away from him that we don't get into radar range and risk being lit up for that Massachusetts and his secondaries, which I will always go on about 7.5 Ks from Massachusetts for their secondaries. But those torpedoes are running. That guy was backing out to get some shots on my 2 friends in their Azumas, but in doing so he has sailed straight into a double salvo of torpedoes, and they kindly hold their fire to allow that to be my 2nd kill of the game and a devastating strike. So now that he is out of the way, I call the push for the cap. I see where they are, and I tell them that my smoke will be reloaded in, about 45 seconds, and that we can push into that capture point. I can spot the cruisers and drop a smoke screen for them, and they can sit inside that smoke screen. I can run my sonar and give them more than sufficient warning of the risk of any torpedoes coming in on them, and this is going to work like a charm. Now the Bismarck, and I think it's a Vanguard, have caught up with this, or they've kind of caught up with us, because they haven't come the long way around. They're going to cut short on that corner and turn straight in towards the cap. So with 10 seconds to go, we're communicating, saying, okay, Mainz is a priority. Wichita I can stay away from and keep him spotted, and I forget to actually pop my smoke at this point. So if you're going to do something and say you're going to do something, make sure you do it. And I didn't. I actually went a little bit further before I started running my smoke screen. But we are being clear in our communication. We are coordinating our fire onto a target. So I am keeping things spotted, and they are saying, okay, rounds loaded, this target, let's go in here. Bang, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone, and literally just rotating through. Now I have to turn back to port here because Mr. Bismarck is cutting me off, and I don't want to catch any stray rounds from him. But I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can get some action on my guns. No, the Mainz has disappeared. Okay, there's a Zeton. Can we get some action on him too? Let's pop a few shots. You'll notice that we've had 1 battleship pretty much, and the carrier, I think, defending that left side of the map for pretty much the entire game. Now, what we didn't see, or what I didn't point out actually, was the fact that there was a Tirpitz across here, but rather than stay here and help to defend and block this push, he turned and started running in the opposite directions, which wasn't very helpful for his teammates, who were very quickly taken care of. So all those guys that like to sit in the back and think you're nice and safe and just spam some shots across the top of the islands because you've got those brilliant arcs on your HE shells on the Mainz. Yeah, it's not always the best option. So here we are. Sorry, it wasn't a Tirpitz, it was a Bismarck. And there we have the carrier. Now, what happened next was a little bit questionable because the carrier is spotted, as is the Bismarck. Now, the Bismarck has guns, the carrier doesn't, and the Bismarck can shoot at our ships, whereas the carrier needs to get his planes in, up, and at us, which takes a lot longer than firing a salvo of shells over. So for me, the priority target here would have been the Bismarck, because we can take care of planes, and those planes are a finite resource, and the more he gets shut down, the less he's got to bring in and attack you. So think about your targets and think about the priority of those targets and who would be the best one to shoot at. Yes, there is kill sniping goes on here. I've had it happen a few times myself today. But quite often it is a case of, if you're able to take guns off the map, take them off the map. So here comes Billy Bismarck sailing in. He gets absolutely slammed, and I think that was by our battleship, and before he even has a chance to blink, he is gone. So as far as scores go, it's a rather mediocre 70,000 with first blood, a death strike and 2 kills. Not a huge amount by any means. And as a division, we don't get the top 2 spots. However, we do get 3, 4 and 5. And if you look at our base XP scores, there is literally 31 points between Pleasure House in his Azuma and Brevik in his Azuma, with me sandwiched firmly between them. So that is, to me, a solid division game where we do all 3 things. We communicate, we coordinate, and we control. And that push on that flank, doing exactly what I've said in this video, certainly helped to bring that victory to blue team in a very rapid fashion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to smash the like button, and if you haven't done so already, please do hit subscribe, and I shall see you again soon. Goodbye for now.